Good afternoon, students. Audible, sound is fine. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Sound is fine, right? Okay. So today we are going to start physics. I hope all of you are happy and excited. Okay. So the first, if you see NCERT textbook, the first chapter is called Physical World. And this time from Physical World, no questions will be asked for board exam. So physical world, basically it talks about, what is physics, what is the excitement in physics, what is the scope of physics. So that we will, if you remember first day in the class, I have discussed that. And throughout the, course of this first PU, you will come to know what is the scope, excitement and relation of physics with other sciences, other sister sciences, I call them, chemistry, biology. Okay. So that physical world is a very small chapter. Then after that comes units and measurement. Units and measurement we are not going to discuss now. We are going to discuss that chapter at the last. Now you may think, why sir? It is in the second chapter. We should discuss it first only. Well, units and measurement, like I may be in that chapter, we will have to talk about units of different quantities. Some quantities you don't know till now. For example, if I ask what is the unit of surface tension, what is the unit of thermal conductivity, what is the unit of coefficient of viscosity. So all these terms you have not heard till now. In the course of this first PU, you will be hearing them. So that time we will be finding the unit. Textbook and all I have discussed long back. Please concentrate on what I'm saying right now. So already I have discussed about, what are the basic unit, kg, meter, second, already from your school days. So units and measurement chapter will be done at the last after we complete all the important, once you know all the quantities, then finding the units becomes very easy. So units and measurement chapter will be done at the last. After that comes the third chapter is motion in a straight line. So motion in a straight line is the third chapter. Fourth chapter is motion in a plane. So these two chapters together, we call it kinematics. So we are going to start from motion in a straight line under the topic kinematics. Okay, students? So what is kinematics? Let us discuss. So kinematics is basically study of motion. Study of motion. Please listen carefully. After some time, you can start asking doubts. About textbook, at the end, I will tell you last 5 minutes. So kinematics is study of motion without asking what caused the motion. So we are not going to ask how did the motion started. So we are not going to discuss how the motion started. That we will discuss in dynamics. There Newton's law and all will come. So that is called dynamics, when you want to know how the motion started. So that part we are not going to study in kinematics. In kinematics, there is something which is moving and you have to study the motion. Study the motion matlab what sir? Study matlab just look at it? No. Study means you have to discuss about its position, how its position changes with time, then velocity, how velocity changes with time, then relationship between these quantities, position, velocity, acceleration. So all that study comes under kinematics. So in kinematics, again, I am saying we will not worry about what is causing the motion. That we study in dynamics. And dynamics and kinematics together is called mechanics. Okay, students? So first we will start with kinematics. What is kinematics? Study of motion. So that means first we should understand what is motion. First, we should understand what is motion. So as we discuss this, few things will come out. So let us ask ourselves, when we say something is in motion, so imagine you are in a garden, sitting in the garden, and you are looking at a butterfly, which is right now, let's say, sitting in one of the flower. It is sitting. Now, what do you do mentally? Mentally, one scale will go from you. One scale will go. That scale will have some numbers mentally, okay? In real, you will not bring scale, I know. But mentally, one scale will go. And that origin of the scale will be wherever you are, the origin of the scale. And you will imagine where is the butterfly, at what position it is. Let us say it is approximately 10 meters. So that number, that 10 meter, you will note mentally. Now you will look your watch. Now as time changes, if the position with respect to you, if that 10 meter, if it is not changing, then we say the butterfly is at, what word I should use? If the 10 meter is not changing with time, then we say the butterfly is at rest. And if that number is, by the way, called coordinate, position coordinate. So there will be a scale has to be imagined. A scale has to be imagined from you to the butterfly. Okay, and you have to note what is the coordinate of that butterfly mentally. And if that coordinate changes with time, then we say the butterfly is in motion with respect to you, remember. So you are the observer, and the place from where you do study, that place is called frame of reference. So what is motion? First, let me answer what is motion. So when position of a body changes as time passes by, with respect to some observer, then the body is in motion. The body is in motion with respect to the observer. So you may be noticing I am giving very importance to this observer. So without the observer, there is no meaning. If I say something is at 10 meter, simply something is at 10 meter, does it make any sense? Does it make any sense? This butterfly is at 10 meter. From whom? That you have to mention. From you, from the wall, from this plant, like that you have to mention. Okay, so only saying 10 meter it is there, that doesn't make any sense. You have to mention the origin, matlab the observer. Okay, so what is motion? When position of a body changes as time passes by with respect to some observer, then the body is in motion with respect to the observer. So since I keep saying with respect to observer, it means motion is a relative term. Very important note. Motion is a relative term. Relative term. What does it mean? Motion is a relative term means you cannot say this body is in absolute motion. Absolute matlab pakka. 100, it is moving with respect to everybody. Like that you can never say. For somebody, that body may be moving, but you can always find some other observer for which the body may be at rest also. Let me give you an example. This pen right now, if I ask you, is it at rest with respect to me or it is in motion? Then what I will do, I will imagine some distance. And if I don't change the position, you know it is at rest. So this pen is at rest with respect to Pankaj sir. But imagine somebody is looking at the pen from the moon, Imagine he has a very powerful telescope and he is able to see the moon. Then what will he see? Will he see the pen at rest? If somebody is looking from moon, me, and I am holding the pen, will that person see this pen is at rest? No, because this pen, Pankaj sir, this room, this building, the whole earth is revolving around the sun also and rotating also. So the person in the moon will say this is moving. Understood or not? So is it moving or at rest then? So I am right or the person in the moon is right? Who is right? Who is right? Both are right. Very good. Both are right. That's why motion is a relative term. So with respect to Pankaj sir as observer, this pen is at rest. With respect to that person who is in the moon, for him that this pen is moving. Because if he imagines a scale, long scale from moon to here, the position of this pen will be changing for him. not for me. Understood or not? Okay. So motion is a relative term. There is nothing called absolute motion. Absolute motion. There is nothing called absolute motion. Absolute matlab pakka motion. Pakka motion matlab for everybody it is moving. Like that it is not there. No motion is there. So please make a note. Now this observer, wherever he is there, he will imagine some coordinates. I told some scale he will imagine. Now the butterfly may not move in a line. The butterfly may go here also, here also, here also. It may move in space. So he has to imagine x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. And with respect to x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis, with respect to this coordinate, he has to mention the position of the butterfly. So this coordinate axis, this coordinate system, x, y, z, together with one clock, this is what is called frame of reference. Okay. So next, basically the observer will be in the frame of reference. So they may also ask what is frame of reference. So when I say frame of reference, it basically means the XYZ system with a clock. Okay, so this system is what is called frame of reference, and the observer will be, of course, you should copy. Then why am I writing? Otherwise, I will just talk. No. This is your first class or what, Nikhil? So observer will be standing here, okay, at the origin. Observer will be at the origin, okay. And in simple way, if you want to know what is frame of reference, then it is the place from where we do measurement. So the place from where we do measurement. So if you are sitting in your garden, then imagine that area to be the frame of reference. You may be in a car also. So if you are in a car, then you are the car is the frame of reference. So if you look at the tree, you will see the tree is going back. So for you, the tree is going back. Don't think that, no, sir, actually I am moving. No, that you should not say. You are moving, how you can say? How you can say you are moving? Have you seen yourself going to market? Have I told, oh, Pankaj sir, see, he is going to market like that? Have I told like that any time or what? So you have to tell what you are seeing. You have to tell what you are seeing. That's it. Understood or not? So don't use extra brain. That actually, sir, I am moving and tree is, I am seeing the tree to go back. Yes, you are seeing the tree to go back. So mention that. So write down the tree is going back. We can see our legs moving. Yes, I'm talking about center of mass, Channa. So when I talk about a huge body, I talk about the center of mass. But you don't see the whole center of mass going somewhere. So center of mass concept will come much later when I talk about more than one particle. You may see parts of you moving, but you will never see yourself going somewhere. Understood or not? So please understand, when you are in the car, it is you who is observing the other things to go back. So in your book, what you should write? Other things are going back. That is what you have observed as a observer. And the car will be your frame of reference. That is very, very important to understand in this chapter, because everything will be done with respect to some observer who will be in some frame of reference. And frame of reference, when I say mathematically, if I say it is a set of coordinate axes with a clock. But in a simple way, if I say it is the place from where we do measurement. The frame of reference can be ground also. If you are just standing in the ground, then ground is your frame of reference. But if you are in a car or a train, then the train or the car will be your frame of reference. Now, depending on how many coordinates you need, to find the position of the butterfly or the body, that depending on that, we will have three kinds of motion. Okay. So the three kinds of motion that we have to study are, the first one is called one-dimensional motion. One-dimensional motion. This is also called in a very simple way, motion in a straight line. Motion in a straight line. So this is your third chapter in NCERT, this one. So this we will be discussing for some 2, maybe 4, 5 days, only this. Okay. After that, here, what is 1D motion? So here, only one coordinate changes with time. Okay, only one coordinate changes with time. So matlab, once the body starts with some velocity, then it should stay always in this line. It should stay in this line. It should not come out of the line. Again, I'm telling you, once the body starts, it should be in that line. It can come back, no problem. It can come back, but it should not go out of the line. Understood or not? So such kind of motion is called 1D motion. So if the body is moving this way, where will I put the scale? Best place is to put scale here only. Call this x-axis, call this y-axis. Yes or no? So as the body goes from here to here, here to here, here to here, or maybe comes back, will the y coordinate change or only x coordinate will change? Which coordinate will change? If the body is moving like this and I call this one x-axis, this one y-axis, only x coordinate will change. Okay. Similarly, if the particle is moving like this in this line, then you can call this as your x-axis and this as your y-axis. By the way, it may not move always on the x-axis. For example, if this is your y and this is your x, if the particle is moving this way, this is the path. Okay, then also it is 1D motion only. Why, sir? Because the y coordinate is not changing. Which is changing? Only x coordinate. So this is also motion in a straight line. Okay, students. So here only one coordinate changes with time. Only one coordinate changes with time. Y coordinate does not change. So since it is not changing, there is no point knowing it. Because origin you can keep wherever you want. So you can put the whole x-axis here also. Okay, students? Okay. Some example, can you give any one example? So all these are examples of motion in a straight line. Can you give me any example, real life example? Acceleration. I'm asking about example of motion. Acceleration is when velocity changes. It can change when it is going in circle also. It can change when it is going in a straight line also. Falling body, yeah. So freely falling body. Freely falling body. Okay. Starting with zero speed. Starting with zero speed. Starting with zero speed matlab dropped like this. Okay, dropped. So if you drop something like this, that will be motion in a straight. You see, if I throw, then it will go like this. You know that, no? So that is not motion in a straight line because this is a curved path. Understood or not? So you have to start with zero speed and let it fall. And free word we use, this freely falling doesn't mean, you know, you are falling without any homework. So that is not freely falling. Freely falling means the only force acting on you is gravity. So that is something which we will discuss more later also. So whenever I say freely falling, it always means only force acting is gravity. Only force acting is gravity. Okay. Another example, one more example. Car moving in highway, you can write, no? Car moving in a straight road. in a straight road. Of course, he may change Solpa here and there. Rocket launch can be taken up to some time. Channa, rocket launch can be taken up to some time. Then it will deviate because it has to ultimately turn. Train in a straight track, yeah. Firing a bullet is again Spandana a little bit doubt because the moment you fire the bullet, if you fire the bullet like this, no problem. But if you fire the bullet like this, then it will go like that. Ultimately, it will go like that. No, it cannot go straight because of falling of raindrops. Yeah. So 2 examples will be enough for exam. Athlete running 100 meter along a straight track. Yeah. Fine, fine. Good. Enough now. Enough of examples. Wonderful. Good examples you have given. Write down quickly. So this itself we are going to study for some 3-4 days. Only this. This is your 3rd chapter. Here, students, you will come to know that vectors are not so useful here. Vectors are not so useful because it is motion in a straight line. So this one I can take positive. This one I can take negative. That's it. So I don't need vectors. Okay. However, once you go to 2D motion, 2D motion is called motion in a plane. Motion in a plane. So in motion in a plane, what will happen? Here, how many coordinates will change? I hope you are writing the example and not only messaging. Don't be busy only chatting in the chat box. So here, 2 coordinates will change with time. Here, 2 coordinates changes with time. 2 coordinates changes with time. So for example, mathematically, if I write, this is y-axis and this is x-axis. So imagine an insect is walking on the table. So now you don't need, you cannot give, suppose the insect is here, then it is here. You cannot give only x coordinate. You cannot give only x coordinate. Because if you give me only x coordinate, then I will not know whether it is here, then it is here. See, it can be here, it can be here, it can be here also. No. If I give you only x coordinate, you will not come to know. I have to give you y coordinate also. So after some time, when the particle will go, the body, particle word I will explain after some time. When the body will go there, this will be your y coordinate. So here what happens when it is moving in a plane, x coordinate also changes, y coordinate also changes. Here vectors becomes very, very important, vectors. So here we are going to resolve the vector into 2 components, x component, y component. I hope everybody remembers vectors. So remember, vectors will be very useful when we study motion in higher dimension. Okay. Okay. Some example. So example of this could be motion of pendulum. Okay, motion of pendulum. So when you see pendulum moving, it goes like this. So you can put xy plane on the motion. So the motion is in a plane. It doesn't come out of the plane. In straight line, what I told, it should be in a straight line. It should not come out of the line. The line can be this also, no problem. But it should not come out of the line. Similarly, motion in 2 dimension means only the whole motion should be in a plane. So once it starts moving like this, it should not come out of the plane. So if this is my plane, once the body is moving here, it should not come out. Okay, so pendulum will stay like this. No pendulum goes like this, right? Like this, pendulums never go, right? So motion of pendulum. Then another example is circular motion. Circular motion is also motion in a plane like this, if it stays in a plane. Actually, our Mercury is not going like this. It is going solpa like that. Okay, like this. So the plane keeps on changing. When planets revolve around the sun, the orbit slightly moves here and there. Slightly. About that, we will study later. So circular motion. Then another example you can mention is, one very nice example is there, projectile motion. Projectile motion. Projectile means if you throw something like this, sling in park, swing in park. Yeah, there is pendulum kind of motion. Okay. So projectile motion means if you throw something like this, it goes like this, right? Under gravity, right? So that kind of motion is called projectile motion. So this will also stay in a plane. Usually what I do in class, I will have some duster. I will throw the duster like this. Randomly I'll throw. The students will try to catch it. Okay. So that whole motion will be in a plane. It can be this way. It can be that way, this way. I don't care. Once it starts, it stays in a plane. Yeah. This javelin one is the one I'm talking about, projectile motion. Write down. These are the standard ones. You can write whatever you feel is correct in exam, but be careful. Being creative is not a problem, but in exam we should try to be, little conservative. We should not be too creative in exam. Then some teachers, they may not give you full marks. Okay. Done? Writing part is done, right? So this one will need vectors very, very much. Okay, so keep in mind, this will come little bit later. Then final kind of motion, that is number 2. Okay, I forgot to change the number. The third kind of motion is 3D motion. So this is called motion in space. So here, all the 3 coordinates, all the 3 coordinates changes with time. So you have to draw one more coordinate like this, and the body will move here in space. So it will not stay in the plane. It will go like this, then it will come out, then again maybe it will go back, then again come out. So the moment it comes out, you need to give Z coordinate also. What coordinate also? Z coordinate also. So for that it is difficult to show because the board is 2D. Board is 2 dimension. No. Any example of this? Yeah, flying kite is a nice example. So when kite is flying, it will not move in a straight line, right? I don't think it moves in a straight line or it will stay in a plane. It may move sometime like this, then it will come out, then go down, then come up, then maybe it will go left and right, back and forth. So all kinds of motion. Skydiving is another nice example. One more example that I like very much is motion of molecules. Motion of molecules in a gas. So when molecules move in a gas, they also do not stay in one direction, right? Imagine if molecules were moving in, ball hit by Virat Kohli will be like your 2 dimension. It will be like projectile motion unless there is too much wind current. If there is too much wind and all, then yes, it may become 3 dimension. But as long as you neglect the air resistance and all, then it will stay in it will be like a projectile motion. So that is a very physics example that we discussed, motion of a cricket ball under the topic projectile motion. So this is a very nice example, molecules of motion of molecules. Now this is something I would like to discuss with all of you. Yeah. So how do I know this? I don't see molecules, right? I've never seen atoms. Nowadays we have very powerful microscopes called tunneling microscope. Yeah, it is also projectile motion, provided again, Channa, you don't assume air resistance and all. Because if there is wind current, a lot, then it may deviate from its plane. So if you throw a basketball like this, it will usually stay in a plane like this. Initially, when we do physics, we will not consider air resistance. Only later, once we study about fluids matlab liquids and gases. So that time we will bring up air resistance also. So I have not seen atoms or molecules. Then how do I know about their motion? Well, one thing you can do is if you take a tire and no matter where you make the hole, gas comes out. Yes or no? The air comes out, which means they are trying to move in all directions. So when you make the hole this side, they come out from here. If you make hole this side, they come out from here. Imagine all of them were going only here, suppose. Then if you make hole here, they will not come out, no. If they were going only this side, imagine all the molecules were moving in a straight line like this. So if all of them were moving in a straight line, then if you make hole here, they will not come out. But from experience, that no matter where you make the hole, the gas molecules comes out. So that gives us an idea that molecules are moving in all directions. So these two are good examples. Okay. So as I told, our few days we will be concentrating in motion in a straight line. Okay. So before we start to discuss motion in a straight line and all, some few terms we have to understand. One is called distance, which is called path length also, and one is called displacement. So first let us discuss distance. So imagine a body is moving. And if I want to know what is distance or what is path length, then distance means basically this only. It is the total length of the path covered by the body. Okay, in some interval of time, obviously that is there. When motion occurs, it occurs in time. So with time, with changes in time, the body is moving, right? So what is distance? It is the total length of the path. Okay, since it is length of the path, it is a scalar quantity. It will not have any direction. Okay, it is just the length of the path. Then we come to the second quantity called displacement. So displacement basically is a vector from initial position to final position. So it is the shortest distance This is how they write in exam, in books and all, which I don't like very much. Using the word distance, which is because distance we have understood here, no. But shortest I have written, so it is okay. It is the shortest distance directed word is very important. Directed from initial position to final position. Okay, of the body. Now tell me quickly, out of these two, which one will not depend on the path taken? Suppose I start from here and I go here. Which one will not depend on the path? Which one will not depend on the path? So displacement will not depend on the path. I'm very surprised most of you are saying distance. So distance is what I wrote here. It is the total length of the path. So obviously it will depend on the path. So distance will depend on the path. Okay, so it depends on the path. It depends on the path, the actual path, and this, it does not depend on the path. It does not depend on the path as long as your initial position and final position are same. Okay, that you have to mention here. If initial and final position, let me write here, final position are same. Okay, I will give some examples, don't worry, but I thought this one you will be able to answer easily. So distance, when I say, it is the total path length, okay, which a body moves from some time, from initial time to final time, some position to some position. Displacement is a vector which is drawn from initial position to final position. So usually when I write it is a vector like that. It is a vector from initial position to final position. But in books and all, they have written it is the shortest distance directed from initial position to final position of the body. And this will not depend on the path as long as your initial position and final position are same. So they may ask you for 3 marks. what are the differences between this. Now, if they say 3 marks, you have to write 3 difference. Okay, we will see that later. Some of the difference you may have seen already. So let us discuss some basic examples. So imagine a body goes from here to here. Initial position, final position, and this is the path. Okay, so let us say this length is 10 meter, or let's say 3 meter. I means initial position, F means final position. Okay, so here, what will be your distance? Distance will be how much? If I go straight, this is the path. Okay, this line is the path. So distance is 3 meter. What about displacement? Hello. I have to put magnitude. I have to put modulus because displacement is vector. I'm telling you, all those vectors knowledge will come now. It's magnitude. So if I ask magnitude of this vector is 3 meter only. So in this example, you have seen that distance and magnitude of displacement. See how I'm saying, students. Concentrate on the words. Don't be busy only answering. So distance is 3 meter. It is the length of this path. And displacement is also 3 meter because it is the magnitude of the displacement from initial position to final position. So in this example, they are saying, matlab, when a body goes straight like this, without changing direction, that time your distance and displacement will be same in magnitude. When it will be same? When it moves in a straight line without changing direction. So when a body moves in a straight line without changing direction, in that case your distance will be same as magnitude of displacement. Okay, keep this in mind. 1 mark question. Okay, let us see another example. Example 2. Suppose a body goes like this and then comes back like this. Okay, in the same line. In the same line it comes back, but for clarity I'm showing like this. Just for clarity. Otherwise, if I draw in the same line, you may not understand which, how it went. So it went like this. Okay, so this is your initial position. This is your final position. This is 10 meter. And this is, let's say, 6 meter. So in this example, this is the path. The red color is the path. Now, in this example, if I ask distance, distance is what? Length of the path. Length of the path. So usually the way I tell students how to measure distance is to take a thread and hold one end here and other end like this. Then you hold here, then other end like this. Then you take the total length of the thread and you measure it in a scale. Understood what I'm saying? Take a long thread, put one end here and other end you go like this, then hold here, then come like this, then hold here. Then whatever length you have got, that is the total path length. Distance matlab total path length. So what is your distance here? 16 meter. Everybody understood, right? 16 meter, right? 10 plus 6. Don't worry about direction. Displacement, magnitude if I want. And what is displacement? I told from initial position to final position, you have to draw a arrow. So this is your displacement. This is your displacement. Okay, displacement. Okay, students. So this one will be how many? This is 10. This is 6. I can write 4 meter. Or you can do this way also. Look here. This is plus 10 this side. So plus 10 I cap. I cap, sir. Displacement vector. Let me write some symbol. S bar. In vector form we will do, because we know vectors. What is there? Many students will not be able to do this part. You can do now. So displacement, total displacement, what it will be? 10 I cap. And this is 6 I cap or minus 6 I cap. This one. If I call this as x-axis. Minus 6 I cap. Minus 6 I cap. So what will be displacement vector? Plus 4 I cap. Right? And if somebody says find the magnitude, it will be 4 meter. Magnitude of I cap is 1. See, this is why I told vectors are very useful. Directly also you can say, I know, but using vectors also we can write. Okay. Displacement is vector, remember. And this symbol I am using for displacement right now. Later we will see. This is second example. So by the way, check these numbers. What did you notice? Distance is more or displacement is more now in magnitude? Distance is more. So please remember this important note. Distance will be either greater or equal to magnitude of displacement. Magnitude of displacement. Okay, students. So please keep this in mind. So distance will be either greater or equal to. It will never be less. It will never be less. When it will be equal, just now I told it will be equal when you are moving in a straight line. Okay. And what will happen if you come back to the same point? If you come back to the same point, distance will be 10, 10, 20 meter. Displacement will be 0 now, because your initial position and final position are at the same place. So you cannot draw any arrow. You cannot draw any arrow between initial and final because they are at the same point. So displacement will be 0. Okay. Please remember this part is here only, but for clarity I am showing you. So if this is the case, your displacement vector will be 0. So this is your null vector. Null vector. Okay. Magnitude will be 0. Distance will be never 0. Distance is just the moment you move, distance will never be 0. Displacement can be 0 if you come back to the same point. Example 3, you see. Suppose somebody goes like this 4 meter and somebody goes like this 3 meter. Okay, so this is your path. Okay. Path is important, okay, because you can go from here to here via this path also. Okay, you can go this way also. So if you change the path, distance will change. Displacement will not change. Is it lagging for everyone? Okay. So for those for whom it is lagging, you may have to wait or you have to see the video later. Okay, because this will be recorded, and those who are not able to see properly because of some malfunction in the internet connection, this side or that side, wherever it is, okay, you can see the recorded video, but it will be always a waste of time only. You can spend that time here only. Why you have to again see it later? So if the video becomes lagging or if it is blurred, if it happens for everybody, I will just record the whole video and send the lecture to all of you. Okay. So now suppose it is going this way. Suppose the body is going this way. It starts from this position, initial position, final position. I think I forgot to write initial position and final position in the previous example. So what will be distance here? Distance, total length of the path. No, take a thread, go till here, then go till here, then measure the total length of the thread. So it will be 7 meters. 4 plus 2. Displacement, if I want only magnitude, then what is displacement? Shortest vector from initial to final. So this is your displacement vector. Okay, this is your displacement vector. So it will be root this length. How to find this length? Root over 4 square plus 3 square, which is 5 meters. Yes or no, students? Can I use vector knowledge? Yes, I can use. So displacement vector. You know from triangle law, this vector plus this vector is this vector. Correct? Huh? So let us call this x-axis. Let us call this y-axis. So this will be 4i cap vector, and this will be 3j. So this is your displacement vector in component form. Once you know components, what is the magnitude? I have already told the formula, root over sx square plus sy square. So x component is 4, y component is 3, so answer is 5. So same answer you will get. However, you can always use vector knowledge also. Vector knowledge also. This becomes more important if the angle is 30 degree, let's say. Okay. Here it was easy. You can use Pythagoras theorem also. But suppose I say this is somewhere here. Then you have to do it. Yeah, you can. That's what I'm saying. If it is like this, you can use Pythagoras theorem also. If it is like this. Okay, Nuria? If it is like this, you can use Pythagoras. But you know, they may say like this. This is 4 meter and this is going 3 meter like this. At 60 degree. At 60 degree. Okay, so if it is like that, you have to take components of this. Or you can use root over a. If there is only one component, then no need to do that. Of course. If you do also, you will get same only. If this is 0, Channa, see here. If this is 0, if you put 0 here, you will get this 4 only. Correct now? And if it is 60 degree, then you have two options. You can take components and you can do, or you can use parallelogram. Root over a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. Remember or not? This you take as a vector. This you take as b vector. And this is the angle between a vector and b vector. Correct? No? That we will do later. Last example. After that, we will continue. Example 4. Suppose there is a circular track. Circular track whose radius is r. Radius is r. Okay. This is the center. And let's say there is a person who starts from here and comes to here along this path. So this is the path. This is the path. Okay. So in this example, if somebody says what is distance? Okay. What will be distance this time? This much, this length. See, again, I'm saying distance is length of the path. So this is half of circumference. So half of 2 pi r, which will be how much? Pi r. And displacement is very simple. Displacement, again, don't forget to write magnitude only. The direction will be downwards. So displacement is this vector. This is displacement. This is displacement vector. That will be diameter. In magnitude, it is diameter, 2r. You have to write in terms of r because r was given. So please don't write diameter, write 2r. Okay. So then you can think if it goes from here to here, here to here, like that, you try to think different answers. If you get, let me share in the group. Again, those new students who are not in the physics group, please share your number with Stalin. He will add you in the group. Tomorrow you will get worksheet on vectors with solutions. Okay, so now we have understood what is distance, what is displacement, examples also we did. So now we go to higher step now. So when the body is moving, there will be distance covered, there will be some displacement also, right? Now the question is how fast it is moving. To know how fast it is moving, we need to divide by time. So that if time is smaller, the ratio will be larger. Yes or no? If I take less time, then distance by time will be more for me. Yes or no? 10 meter, I cover in 2 seconds. 10 meter, you are taking 10 seconds. So this ratio will be more, this ratio will be less. Correct? No. So the ratio of distance covered by time taken, okay, that will give you the idea of how fast somebody is moving. So now we will talk about average speed, and then we will talk about average velocity. So what is average speed? Average speed symbol, let me write like this. It is defined as distance by time taken. Distance by time taken. Okay, so average speed is given by distance by time taken. Rate of change of distance, you can say. So this distance covered per unit time. And remember, distance is path length. So in all those four examples, if I give you time taken, suppose 2 seconds was the time taken. So all those numbers you divide by 2 seconds. That will give you average speed. And distance can be anything. It can be pi r, it can be root over, distance can be pi r, it can be directly, it can be 2 pi r if it is full circle, or it can be any kind of, if it is a very complicated kind of path, then formula I will not be able to tell you, but you can still measure the distance. So distance will keep changing depending on the path. So this one I cannot give you a standard formula. Now we come to average velocity. Average velocity is, symbol will be same, but better to mention this as speed. No, so somewhere let me write here vector sign. So average velocity in magnitude is given by displacement. No need to write magnitude also. So displacement by time taken. So this is the definition of average speed and average velocity. Please do not get confused. So this is path length by time taken. We will do some examples. This is displacement by time taken. Another thing you notice here. No, here I don't have to write magnitude because I wrote displacement. It is a vector quantity. Another thing you notice. I told this is always greater or equal to this. Yes or no? This is always greater or equal to this, I told. This one. Therefore, this will be always greater or equal to this. So remember, average speed will be always greater or equal to magnitude of average velocity. Magnitude of average velocity. Why? Because this is always, numerator here is always greater or equal to this. Therefore, this also will be always greater or equal to this. Okay. Now we will see some formula. Okay. How to write all these things in a formula. Okay. So later you copy, now already I rubbed it. Okay. Sorry. Next time I will be little slow, Channa. So now look here. This one you make a note. This is important. Now, how to represent displacement, okay, in a formula. So first let us write displacement in 1D. This is what we have to concentrate for few days in one dimension only. So imagine this is your x-axis, okay, and this is see, when I say x-axis, you have to imagine a scale with numbers, okay. So there will be 0 somewhere, no, 0. So that we will call as origin. Now let us say this is your initial position, and that time the coordinate is x1. So x1 is the coordinate. It is coordinate. It is not displacement. Suppose I say your car is in your house. If I give the number 10 meter from me, let's say I'm standing 10 meter from your car. Now, if I give you 10 meter is the coordinate, does it mean 10 meter is the displacement of the car? No, it doesn't mean. When it will be displacement? If it started from origin and it went to 10 meter. So if this car went from here to here, then this will be displacement. Okay. So let us say this is the initial position and this is the final position. Okay, then displacement, you know, is this vector. This we write it delta x. So your displacement formula will be x final minus x initial. Sorry, x2 minus x1. So this is the initial position of the body. This is the final position of the body. And this vector is your displacement vector, right? Once again, we see this is the initial position, this is the final position. If this is the initial position, this is the final position, what is displacement? From initial position to final position, right? And for that, we write this symbol delta x. So delta x will be x2 minus x1. Okay. Now in vector form also we can write. In vector form, how will I write? Delta x bar will be x2 minus x1 and direction is along positive x-axis. So I can. Okay. So this way also we can write in vector form. Can displacement be negative? Displacement. Magnitude cannot be negative. Displacement. Can displacement be negative? Not magnitude. Magnitude can never be negative. But displacement vector, can it be negative? Yes. If the particle is coming this side. Okay, so imagine this is your origin. Any particle is coming this side. Yes, what is origin only, right? I think I have not mute all of you. Okay. So if the particle is coming this side, then this will be your initial position. This will be your final position. Look the diagram here. If the particle is coming this side, look the diagram. X final is more or X initial, X2. So X initial is more or X final is more. Here, initial position is more from origin or final position is more. Initial is more. So here, x1 is more than x2. So when you substitute here, you will get negative answer. Correct, no? Correct, no? If this is larger than this, then this will be negative. Yes or no? So your displacement will be negative here, this side, when you substitute the values. So displacement can be negative because it may be either this way or it may be this way. Okay, so keep this in mind. So just remember this formula and substitute the values. However, if I take magnitude both the sides, I will get this only because magnitude of I cap is 1. Magnitude of unit vector is 1. Again, those who have not attended my vectors class, this part and all you may not understand. So please revise vectors. Till here you will understand, till here. But to understand this, you need to see vectors. So if this is the formula for displacement, what will be the, so let me do in higher dimension also. Displacement in higher dimension. Higher dimension means 2 dimension or 3 dimension. In 1 dimension, what is the formula? Again, let me repeat. If this is the x-axis and your particle is moving in 1 dimension along x-axis, from the origin, measure the initial coordinate. So this is your x1. Then final coordinate. This is your x2. I will not be drawing this diagram all the time. Today I am drawing, I will not be doing all the time. You have to remember that whenever coordinates are mentioned, it is from origin, These are like numbers in a scale. So when people say 10 meter here, it is from origin to here is 10 meter. Okay. So displacement is this vector, and whose magnitude will be x2 minus x1. Okay, students. So in one dimension, it is very easy to write. In higher dimension means I am not saying the particle is moving in a straight line. It can be a butterfly, which can go anywhere it wants. So let us say this is your initial position, and somewhere here is your final position, and this is the path. This is the path. So the path is complicated this time. You cannot put it in a straight line. So what you do, first you decide your coordinates. So x here, y here, z is here. This is your origin. Now first you have to measure like you measured. First, how I found displacement? Directly I wrote, no. First I wrote x1 from origin, x2 from origin, then x2 minus x1 is displacement. So same thing, first you have to measure its position coordinate from origin. So this vector I will write r1 bar. So r1 bar is called position vector, initial position vector. Position vector means a vector drawn from origin to the position of the body. What is position vector? Position vector means a vector from origin to position of the body. Okay, so whenever you will draw a vector from origin to some position, that vector is called position vector. I am writing it as r1 bar. So r1 bar represents initial position vector. Now when the particle reaches there, this will be your final position vector. R2 bar will be your final position vector. Let me write in short also. Now, how will you find displacement? What is displacement? You know the meaning. Displacement is shortest vector, shortest distance directed from initial position to final position. So this is your displacement vector. This let me write as delta r bar. Delta r bar. You can write s bar if you want. S bar also. Displacement vector usually we write s bar, but you can write it as delta. Delta matlab change. So this position has gone to this position. So change in position is what is called displacement. Shall I repeat once more? Look here. I am discussing now displacement in higher dimension, not only in a straight line. So imagine some particle is going somewhere here and there. You want to know its displacement from, see, if you want to know displacement of something, you have to first ask who is the observer. From the beginning, that is what I am telling you or not today. Observer is important. So imagine the observer is here. Wherever is the observer, your origin you put there. Now, when the butterfly is there, here I am seeing this position. When the butterfly is there, I am seeing this position. So these two are initial position from me, final position from me. Now I have to draw this vector because that is what is the meaning of displacement. Displacement means what? Vector from initial position to final position. Understood? Then I am just giving symbols because it is very difficult to write. No. See, I hope all of you know the reason why we use symbols in physics and mathematics, even in chemistry. It is difficult to write oxygen all the time. So we write O like that. It is a symbol, right? Understanding? Similarly, I want to talk about position vector. So I am writing R1 bar. R bar is used for position vector. 1 means initial. 2 means final, from origin. And this is your displacement vector. And for that, I am writing delta R bar. Just like I wrote delta X. Yeah, you can draw anywhere. You can draw anywhere. Writing part is done because now I have to find this one in terms of these two. Okay. Now go back to your triangle law. Triangle law. Vectors. So can you tell me how is these three vectors related from triangle law? Which vector plus which vector will be which vector? I hope all of you remember triangle law. This vector plus this vector is this vector. Remember or not triangle law? So using triangle law, which vector plus which vector? R1 bar plus, correct. So R1 bar plus delta R bar will be R2 bar. So what will be my delta R bar? R2 bar minus R1. So this is how we write displacement in higher dimension. We subtract the final position vector with the initial position vector. Understood or not? So this is, it is obvious, right? In the previous case, what we did, if you remember, x2 minus x1 I cap. Remember? So same thing we are doing. Final position vector minus initial position vector will give you displacement vector, because this vector plus this vector is this vector. So this vector will be this minus this. Now suppose somebody says find the magnitude. Okay, find the magnitude of displacement. Magnitude of this length. What was the formula? A bar minus B bar magnitude. What was the formula? Check your notes. Root over A square plus B square 2AB cos theta. Minus was there or plus was there? Minus was there or plus was there? Hey, this is difference of two vectors. Difference. What, ma? Difference of two. See, this is not good, ma students. You are not revising properly. See here, see here. First you write till here. I will explain once more. Write here, till here. No problem. Write this diagram and everything. You have to understand the difference between A bar plus B bar and A bar minus B bar. First write till here. Okay. So I am assuming you have written till here. Okay. So look here. When you add two vectors A bar and B bar, resultant is somewhere here. R bar. This R bar is nothing but A bar plus B bar. Now magnitude of R bar formula was root over A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. What was theta? Angle between the two vectors which we add, this angle. But suppose this is A bar, this is B bar, and I want A bar minus B bar. Then what you have to do, I told you have to flip B bar here. This is minus B bar and add with A bar. Then what will be formula? Root over A square plus B square. Theta will be what? This will be your theta now. What will be this? 180 minus theta, if you remember the class. So this 180 minus theta, when you write, it becomes minus cos theta. So this is the formula for difference of two vectors magnitude. This is the formula for sum of two vectors magnitude. Sum matlab A bar plus B bar. This is difference. Displacement is always difference of final position with initial position. So why do you think I taught so much of vectors? 9 classes I have spent. 9 classes I have used to teach vectors. Okay. So I told you this vector, displacement vector, is final position vector minus initial position vector. Correct? Now, if somebody says find the magnitude of displacement, then what I should use? Directly I cannot add or subtract because these are vectors. These are vectors. They will have different directions. See, one vector is here, one vector is here. So what is the formula? Root over R2 square. R2 square matlab this length, plus R1 square minus 2 R2 R1 cos theta. And what will be theta? This will be your theta. Okay, so now if I give you this length and this length and this theta, you can calculate even in higher dimension. Even in higher dimension, you will be able to calculate magnitude of displacement. Write down. Right, writing part is done. When kite is flying, that is example of higher dimension. Okay, numerical values we will not do now. Numerical example, if you want later, we will do later. Okay, fine. So now, right now, we will not be discussing numerical example of this. Many questions are there in our material, which we have to solve. Okay, now look here. So now let us try to write formula for average velocity. Okay, average velocity. Just now we wrote formula for displacement. So since we wrote formula for displacement, we can write formula for average velocity. Okay. So average velocity, what I told is displacement by time interval. No, displacement divided by time taken. For speed, we cannot give directly because for speed, it depends on the length of the path. So what path it moves, that we don't know. But for displacement, we can write a formula. For example, this is x-axis. Imagine particle starts from here, then goes like this and comes here. Okay, suppose it goes like this and comes here. Now displacement will be this only. This only will be displacement. So for displacement, I can write x2 minus x1. For distance, I can't write a specific formula. Okay, so that will depend on the given problem. Understood everybody what I'm trying to say here? Understood? It starts from this position, it goes to that position. So for displacement, I can write x2 minus x1. But for distance, it depends on the actual path. So depending on the actual path, okay, the distance formula will keep changing. So I cannot give you one standard formula for distance. Therefore, for average speed, I cannot give. Average speed is distance by time. Average velocity is displacement by time. So in one dimension, how I can write? In one dimension, this formula can be written as average velocity is equal to delta x by delta. Okay, so this is your displacement, this is your time interval. No need to put vector in one dimension. But if you want to still put vector, you can write delta x by delta t item. Okay. For higher dimension, we will see in the next chapter. So this is your average velocity. Okay. Now we want to talk about instantaneous velocity. Those who have seen my differentiation class, immediately you can tell me, right? So what is instantaneous velocity? Definition first we have to understand. Okay, so it is the, look here, it is the limit of average velocity when the time interval tends to 0. Tends to 0 means when the time interval is very small. When the time interval is very small. Okay, students, so write the definition first. So what is instantaneous velocity? It is the limit of average velocity when the time interval tends to 0. What does it mean actually? Look here. This is your what velocity? This is your what velocity? Just now I told displacement by time interval. Displacement by time interval is average velocity. Now, when you take limit of this with time interval tends to 0. Tends to 0 means your time taken is becoming smaller and smaller, meaning T2 is becoming very close to T1. See my differentiation videos, you will understand. So when time interval is becoming very, very small, this ratio is what we now call instantaneous velocity. We will write only V now. So we will not write V average. Okay. So this is the definition of instantaneous velocity. So if you remember the formula, you can easily write the words. So what is instantaneous velocity? Limit of average velocity when time taken becomes very small. Becomes very small, you can say, or you can say time interval tends to 0. Better to say tends to 0. Becomes very small means what? No. So 0 0.001, 0 0.0000001 like that. So again, let me repeat. What is instantaneous velocity? Limit of average velocity. Limit of average velocity when time taken tends to 0. And mathematically, how we write this? Dx by dt. So this is the formula for instantaneous velocity. Okay, students, let us do one problem from our material. NCERT. Write down all these things. Yeah. So let us see learning exercise 3.1. Definition is clear, right? Already we have discussed these things in differentiation. Let us do learning exercise 3.1. Question number 1. A man goes 10 meter north and 20 meter east. Oh, this kind of questions we have done already. So let us say this is your east, west, north, south. This is how we write. So first question, what it says, a man goes 10 meter north. So 10 meter north. Then he goes 20 meter east. 20 meters should be longer than this, okay? 20 meter east. Find the distance. Distance is simple. Distance is 10 plus 20, 30 meters. But this is the path. So this is the length of the path. Second part, what they are saying, magnitude of displacement. Magnitude of displacement. Already I did actually. So what will be displacement here? No need to use vectors for this. It is easy, right? So this will be your displacement vector. Delta R bar also. So what will be the displacement vector? Root over this 10 square plus this 20 square. Because displacement means this, students, this. That is hypotenuse of the right angle triangle. So this will be 100 plus 200, 300. So 10 root 3 meters. Okay. Right, quickly. Simple question already. This could be given as homework only. Question number 2. That is your homework. Question number 2 is your homework. Very simple it is. Please do it. Okay. Okay. Question number 2, everybody should do. Before I did for semicircle, here you have to do for one quadrant. What answer is wrong? 100. Oh, so this is 400. Sorry. 500. So 10 root 5. Sorry. So this is 100. This is 400. So this is 500. So 10 root 5. Okay, fine now. Question number 2, please try yourself. Question number 3 is very interesting. I will do it. Question number 3, listen carefully. Good question it is. Show that you have to show the magnitude of displacement of the point of the wheel initially in contact with the ground when the wheel rolls forward half a revolution will be how much? Radius of the wheel is r. So look here, there is a wheel, and this is the floor, this is the ground. Okay, now let us say right now this point is in contact with the ground. One point will be in contact. Now, now they are saying this wheel is going forward and it is not going like this, not like this. It is rolling like this. Okay, it is rolling. So when it completes half revolution, we have to find what is the displacement of the point which was in contact initially. So initially this point was in contact. Now after half revolution, this wheel may go somewhere here. Okay, so after half revolution, it has gone there. Where will be this A now? Here only or here? First position or second position? So this A now will be in the first position or second position? Second position, because it is going half revolution. So say A will be now here. Okay, so we have to find displacement of this point. Matlab this we want. This vector's magnitude we want. Okay, now look here. This is 2r. Radius of the wheel was r, so this is 2r diameter. How much will be this? This part will be how much? Now look carefully. From here to here, this part is going like this. So this part should be here. I should have drawn little farther, I know, but I hope you are understanding. As this wheel goes like this, okay, imagine this is a stop answering. For those students who have not understood, I'm trying to explain. Imagine this is a white paper, and here I put red color ink. So as this wheel will roll like this, when it completes half revolution, when this will reach here, this much part will be red in color because this half I put red ink. So as it rolls like this, okay, so this will be this length. Accepted or not? Everybody. Anyone who said no sir, please explain, tell me. So if you put here red ink, and as this goes like this part will be, this length will be covered here. So this part will be red in color. Okay, so this one will be pi r. Why pi r? Because it is half of circumference, this part. So pi r. So why this is pi r? Because it is half of circumference. So now it is easy to find displacement because you know the adjacent side pi r, opposite side also 2r diameter. So displacement magnitude will be what? Root over this square plus this square. So if I take r square common, I will get pi square plus 4. Correct now? Then root of r square I can write simply r root of pi square plus 4. Okay, so this is what they wanted us to show. They told us show that r root over pi square plus 4. Home exercise is there. I want all of you to try without forgetting. And in our notes, I have given you differences between distance and displacement. Okay, so if you see first difference, distance is, it is the length of the actual path traversed. Traverse means covered. In displacement, it is the shortest distance between. No need, because they told show that. No, show that pi square is there. In displacement, what is the first point they told? It is the shortest distance between initial and final position. Now, under distance, they are saying it is path dependent. Distance depends on path. Displacement is independent of path. Distance is a scalar quantity. Displacement is a vector quantity. distance can never be zero for a moving body. For a moving body, distance can never be zero. Displacement can be zero if the body comes back to the initial point. Matlab, if initial and final position coincide. So 4 differences are given, 3 you have to memorize for exam. I will not write in the board, students. Okay, na? It is there in the material. Already I have explained also. So there is no time. One small learning exercise 3.2. Yeah, we will cover this also. It is very small question. Small question. Don't mind. Time is not over. 5 minutes is still there. Learning exercise 3.2. Question number 1. Listen carefully. Very interesting question. A particle is moving in a curved path. First of all, the path is curved. Let us assume like this. Okay, so this is the path. Now, let dr bar, once I write dr bar, you should think it is a very small displacement. Delta r bar. This was used for displacement or not in the initial case. For higher dimension, I wrote this for displacement. So if I write dr, it will mean very small displacement. So let dr bar represent an infinitesimally small displacement of the particle. Then what is the difference between these two things they want? What is the difference between integral of dr bar and integral of dr bar magnitude? So they want difference between these two. That's it. So let us do it. Simple question. First of all, what is this they told? This represents a very small displacement. Very, very small displacement. So imagine this dr bar is here. So when the particle went from here to here, this is your dr bar. Okay. Now let us do this part first. This part is easy. What is this magnitude I have written? So what is this? This length. This length. Yes or no? Yes or no? dr bar means a small displacement along the path. Small displacement. If I put these lines, it means magnitude. Magnitude of a vector means what? Length of the vector. So this means this length. Yes or no? Now, integration means what? Integration means add. So if I add this length, I am saying length, this length, this length, this length, this length, this length, length, I will get total length. Total length I will get. Total length I will get. So this is your path length. Total path length, which is nothing but distance covered. Correct? Correct. Now this is integration of vector. Matlab you have to add vectors. So this vector plus this vector plus this vector plus this vector plus this vector dot 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 till you reach this vector. See, if I add so many vectors like this, what vector will I get? Polygon law, you remember or not? Polygon law. This vector plus this vector plus this vector plus this vector is which vector? Is this vector. You remember polygon law, right? Polygon law. So this is, so if I say integration of dr bar, only dr bar, if I don't put modulus, modulus matlab magnitude. So dr bar, dr bar, dr bar, dr bar, dr bar, if I add, I will get this vector. So this will be my displacement vector. So this is displacement. Okay, so keep this in mind. This will be your displacement vector. This will be your distance. Thank you. You have to write only this in exam. Diagram better. Diagram no need to write. But here you have to add vectors. dr bar, 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 dr bar. That will give you this vector. That is how we add vectors, by using polygon law when there are many vectors. Okay, na? Thank you. For exam, only this you have to write, students. No need to write the diagram, but without diagram, you will not understand.